Welcome back, you guys. Tonight, I'm here to bring you the 3 talking points and 3 standout things we learned from that win against Morecambe. The focus for this video will be on Billy Gilmour and his performance. I'm going to speak about Hudson Odoi and why he impressed Lampard so much, as well as some more tactical observations made with Lampard and the 4-3-3. So I'm going to really delve in deep. I'm going to use stats, graphs, clips, etc, etc. You guys know I love my stats stuff, and it's about time I start getting back into it. So I hope you guys enjoy. And without wasting any more time, we start with the first talking point. We dissect Lampard's 4-3-3 against Morecambe. Now let's start with the comments that Lampard had to say straight after that game.
Not easy in those games. I remember playing them and there's no space between the lines because they drop so deep. There's no space behind. It's just to make things happen. And I thought we did that at the right times. Mason with a long shot. Kai running in the box combines with Timo. Callum running against the back line, so it was very, very comfortable afternoon. Obviously, maybe more goals would have been nice.
The interesting points for me was Lampard mentioning how difficult it is to play against teams that stop you playing between the lines. You know, teams that set up deep, they're not looking to press, they're keeping their shape, they're staying compact. And we all know the only way to beat teams like this is to play quickly, stretch your play, use the width. And by doing this, you eventually create spaces between the lines. Of course, we got a little quick example of Lampard's perfectionism.
Frank, that was perfect. Everything about it.
Yeah, maybe more goals, but you have to do the job. Spoke about application.
It's this type of ambition that he's constantly coaching to the players, because one day we are going to be that type of team that does really bury and destroy teams that we play this well. Anyway, moving on now, let's hear what Lampard had to say about Hudson Odoi, Pulisic, and what he likes from his wide players in the team.
It's much better, and Callum, yeah, another good performance, and I love it when he's breaking lines and getting in goal scoring positions. That's the difference for me between wingers that are good wingers and wingers that can become great wingers by scoring and creating. And Christian does it a lot. He did it last year. Callum's doing it now. He needs to keep doing it.
Did you guys hear what Lampard said? He said the key thing that separates the great wingers from your good ones is that ability to break the lines. When you break the lines, it's about scoring goals. It's about creating efforts on goal. And when you break the lines, you can do this with a pass or with a run in behind. Now, as we heard, Lampard did highlight Pulisic because this was the main reason why Pulisic was ahead of Callum last season, because Pulisic for me is a goal-scoring winger. He's the type of guy that gets inside the box to finish moves off, and it's clear that Lampard wants Callum to be able to do this too, because he wants to develop complete players. Anyway, some more details that we learn about the game was how Lampard uses fullbacks. Now, when we look at Azpilicueta, he played a more diverse role in that game because Azpi's crossing is actually low-key, very good. Let's not forget the amount of assists he got for us last season. And he had the options to run in field or to make overlapping runs whenever Ziyech tucks inside to play his, perfect trademark diagonal through balls. I mean, as we saw in that clip, that was actually a world-class pass to Havertz, and again, great combo play. And this is an example of a goal that, as the season goes on, we're going to score more of. Now, with Emerson on the opposite side, let's see what Emerson had to say about his game versus Morecambe.
Yeah, Callum or Hakim or Christian, they like to stay between the lines, no? So for me, I have the space, for the overlap, or like today, Callum stay more high, and me more inside. So this is a good connection with us. It depends of the opponent, and we try to move the defenders.
As he said, Callum was hugging the touchline wide, Emerson was tucking more in fields. And I think one of the main reasons behind Lampard encouraged this especially was because, Emerson's not the best when it comes to his final deliveries in the final thirds. I think that's always been a massive weakness in his game since he signed for us. And I think Emerson's much better in the build-up phase and his combo plays in midfield. So I thought this was an intelligent use of the fullbacks in that game. And as Emerson said, for me, this is an example of how Lampard adapts to his team. And to be honest, this is what managers tend to do in the Premier League already. Now, there are other examples of how he likes to use the width. And when you have players like Ben Gilmour and Reece James, players that can do everything, players that can cross inside the final third, players that have great build-up, that can beat their man for pace, that are excellent defending 1v1, meaning that you can kind of isolate them wider by themselves because you can trust them to maintain possession and do something positive with the ball. They add even more variety in the final third. I mean, we've seen Ben and Reece James over the season making infield runs whenever Ziyech's out wide, or Pulisic or Hudson or Werner are down the opposite flank. And obviously there's times when Ben and Reece are going to make that overlapping run where they are going to be isolated to play those balls inside the box. Now it does seem with Ben down the left hand side, he's allowed more freedom to run inside the box, to have efforts on goal, and Reece plays a more creative side. Now basically, as we're seeing throughout the season, the right hand side is about creativity and build up, the left hand side is about finishing chances, finishing goals. Now that we have Ziyech in this team, now we have Havertz, now we have our attacking players firing on form. I feel very optimistic, you guys. But now we move on to the second talking point. Now for this segment, we'll start off by dissecting Hudson Odoi's game, by reacting to that before delving into the tactics and why Hudson was so effective and important in that win versus Morecambe. Now, let's see the star boy in action, you guys. I mean, honestly, moving in between the lines, little step overs, that control, that finesse. I mean, the guy is a quality player. Finds Ziyech out wide on the right, head up, plays between the lines, makes a run in field. He can burn this man for pace on the outside. As Callum was saying, when you use a player like this, he gives you options in the final thirds. I mean, that's excellent technique, finding Ziyech. I mean, throughout that game, these guys were playing volleyball essentially, just finding each other from left to right, and one of the important things behind having wingers who can do this is that, again, it allows you to disrupt the opposition defensive structure. It allows you to play with pace, and it kind of reminds me of Ribéry and Robben back in the day. Now, when they used to play for Bayern Munich, they were constantly switching the play from left to right, finding each other and, you know, allowing the other man to have the space to run out of positions and, you know, create something different between the lines. So for me, very impressive. I mean, nice piece of skill there. That's it. He finds his option in field, and no surprise, accurate pass to Mason Mount, and we know, you guys, we know what happens here. He buries that and Mason Mount makes it a goal. Boom, that acceleration, hit it into space. That's it. And with Callum, he's constantly playing with his head up non-stop. You know, he understands where his teammates are. He knows the attacking patterns and what to do next with the ball. And for me, I've been saying this for years, but he doesn't play like a normal kid. You know, most other young players, they're very exuberant on the ball. They're forcing things for no reason, but not with Callum. He knows what to do at the right time. And for me, that is the makings of a great player. What a goal, what a run. Great finish, great control, and this is an element in which he's going to keep adding more and more goals and as he develops, as things continue on. Oh, between the lines, nice piece of skill there. And now, this is the brilliance of Hudson Odoi. He brings you a different dimension down that right hand side. You know, on the left, he has that goal threat, making runs in field to, you know, create something on goal. And on the right hand side, he can set things up for his team. I mean, wow, what an incredible cross that was. He makes it look too easy, the link up play. This guy's a serious player, man. Ooh. I mean, great pass, great switch of play. Yeah, this was a very impressive performance, and it does seem Callum play. I know this is Morecambe, but for me, I'm seeing this as like a very intensive training style game. Now let's break down the stats from the game, you guys. As we can see on screen, we can see the average positioning of the players. We're looking at Hudson Odoi down the left hand side, and he's tucked more in field. On the opposite flank though with Hakim Ziyech, we're seeing him holding positions wider down the right hand side. And looking at the heat maps now, this reveals even more detail. As we can see with the patterns and the shapes, you know, we focus more of our play the build-up side down the right hand side. Playing this way allows us to quickly make space down the opposite flank, and creating space like this down the left hand side allows players to make runs in field, allows players to break the lines. And this is something that Lampard has been stressing, that he wants to see Callum really improving and really just master. As we can see with the heat map, you guys, down that left hand side in that concentrated area, this is the average position where Callum is receiving passes. Now the reason why it's a bit lower down the field is because in the build-up phase, it's about drawing the opposition towards you, and by having Emerson making that infield run, tucking inside, Callum had options to play passes down the left, down the right, in the middle. And once he plays those passes, once his other teammates manipulate the ball, there's then space for Callum to break the lines and obviously move more in fields and run through goal. This is why Callum's goal was very impressive. Yes, it's against Morecambe, it's easy, but it's impressive in the sense that he is showing the serious signs that he is completely understanding what he needs to do to become that complete attacking player. To be that guy that's going to take responsibility for the team and one day become a serial match winner for us. And this is the vision that Lampard has for the player. Moving on to some match quotes though, and one interesting one that was revealed from the club's official website was Hudson Odoi speaking about his partnership with Hakim Ziyech. As Callum said, Hakim and I have that little partnership where we know one another's capabilities and what one can do. As soon as he got the ball, I made that run because I knew he can find those passes. It was a great ball by him to find me in behind, and this isn't the first time. Let's cast our minds back to that first pre-season game against Brighton where in the first 4 minutes we scored a goal quite identically to one of the goals that we scored against Morecambe. You know, Hakim Ziyech playing that beautiful diagonal pass to Callum, who's running in field, who then, you know, clumsily sets up Werner. But it's the principles in which we're trying to create these passing patterns to create efforts on goal. Now to start things off, I'm going to react to Gilmour's performance against Morecambe. Now the stats came out and of course they were so impressive. Gilmour got a 92% pass completion rate, he got 110 touches of the ball, he played 95 accurate passes, and there's a big benefit to having a player of Gilmour's dimensions and tactical role in this team. Now, a lot of people keep calling him a regista. That is not too accurate. He plays more of a deep line playmaker role, and one of the benefits that you get from Gilmour and the importance in having a player like this is his ability to play one touch, two touch. He plays passes quickly. As we can see here, boom, between the lines. And it's about that tempo. Quick, quick, quick. Wins that tackle there. He knows when to close his man down, switches the ball to the right. I mean, honestly, he plays with his head up, he plays the forward pass, and it's no surprise that Cesc Fabregas is such a big role model for the player. But again, more passing between the lines. I mean, that's what you want to see in a team like us, breaking down a low block opposition who really isn't trying to press. They're trying to keep their shape in their own half. So when you have a midfielder at the base, you know, he can't afford to waste possession. Every pass is purposeful, every pass kickstarts an attack, maintains that tempo, etc, etc. Nice, he finds Ziyech. Of course, right there to win possession. And of course, as Gilmour gets older, he'll become more physical and shield the ball better. But look at the passes, setting up Callum Wides. Quick, yep, another pass quickly, and that pace is important because when you move the ball with pace and purpose, you want to unlock the opposition defensive structure. That's the most important thing. A nice switch of the ball too. And when you do that, you don't give any time for the opposition team's defensive structure to stay in line. You know, they're constantly moving, they're constantly going from left to right. And that is the key to breaking down these low block teams. So for me, if Gilmour never picks up that injury versus Leicester City, I really feel like he is going to play an important role for the second half of the season because Kante cannot play every single game in the base. So it's going to be very exciting to see how Gilmour progresses as the season goes on, you guys. And you guys, on that note, I'm going to wrap things up and keep things moving. I'm going to be releasing this Havertz video in the next 2 days, you guys. Bear with me, my PC's kind of acting a bit funky at times, but it's all going to be good at the end of this month, you guys. On that note, I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos.